Healthy for the Holidays event. So thank you everybody for attending. And let me just share a little about this organization, those that don't know, because this is my first time being a part, so maybe some other people are new here. So Still I Rise is a dynamic and innovative leadership development nonprofit organization that empowers low-income and underprivileged and young adults to create a positive and healthy change in society. The inspiring organization was founded by Takara Eldridge Robinson, October 1st, 2014 in Illinois. Serves the counties of Champaign, Cook, Ford, Iroquois, thank you. Kankakee and Will. Still I Rise provides youth and young adults with stimulating programs, events, seminars, and engagements, educating them in areas including health, arts, ethics, life skills, and entrepreneurship. So I want to introduce you to our board of directors, and if you'd like to come up here and when I call your name, that'd be great. Takara Eldridge Robinson, she is the executive director. Let's welcome her, please. We have Aaron Robinson, the operations manager. Laverne Gardner. We have Mozella Malone. She's our secretary. Let's give her a hand. She's unable to be here right now. Colleen Mason for marketing and public relations manager. Again, unable to attend. Let's we have a few ways that we can give because the initiative that this organization does, there's 4 ways we can give through cash. There's a donation jar over there with Miss Allen. We can pay on the website, the StillIRise.org, check Still I Rise, and then the Cash App, Still I Rise 2014. And these things help towards feeding and clothing the homeless on a monthly basis. It's like a few times you said during the month. So that's a wonderful initiative. And then this is one of the things that we will know what the funds will go to. Is the one they're doing right now that's coming up in January is to purchase coats and blankets for the youth. So keep them warm and keep them safe, so that would be exactly like the immediate needs will go towards that right now. So we're going to be asking about that. If anybody had a chance to give towards that raffle over there, because it's a beautiful basket and some other things that go along with there, be sure to enter into that raffle, and we will get started. So I'm going to welcome myself. You guys can go and sit back down. Thank you so much. Give my hand. So I have an impromptu been asked to speak, so I didn't have that on the doc, but I'm glad to be ready in season, out of season. So one thing that I want to share about with me, like we were talking about with mental health, I had came from a person that in 4th grade wanted to commit suicide and take my life. Even some years back, I was in a very deep and depressive state. And so you would say, well, Erika, how can you do that? You look so upbeat. You look so happy. You got all these things going for you. And I did have a lot of things going for me, but I also had a lot of negative things that were happening inside of my life. And this is after, because I'm a believer, I love Jesus, He's the Lord of my life. And so you say, well, you know the Word, you know all these things. And so a couple of things that happened that led to that. 2013, my nephew, he was 9 years old, his name was Benny. My cutest little nephew. I have 19 nieces and nephews, so it's a lot of them. But he was one of them. And he had breathing problems, like he had a lot of allergies, a lot of food things. He only had like 4 or 5 things. And one day he wakes up, actually was getting ready to go to sleep for school. And he would take nebulizers for his breathing. So he woke up that night and he said he woke up screaming, couldn't breathe. And I want to give a little backtrack right before that happened, that he was praying. And my nephew was 12 years old and Benny was 9 at the time. So my nephew, Jeremiah, said, well, what are you praying about? And he said, well, I'm praying, Benny asked me, my nephew Jeremiah, what are you praying about? And Jeremiah said, well, I'm praying about how to have healing and how to, forgive. And then Benny said, you should pray to receive another day, just because you just might not. And that was the night he passed away unexpectedly. And so I remember when that happened, it was devastating. A few things that happened during that time is, when you go to the visitation at the funeral home, when they want the family to see the body, before, and I remember going in, you know, I have a twin, so it was my twin sister's son. And so we go in and review the body. So the makeup on his face was all smeared and everything. And my sister just like broke, it just made her just cry hysterically. She was like, that's not my son, you know, being on that. So then my mom goes, oh, well, Erika is an artist. I'm a graphic designer, but I'm not a makeup artist. You know, I think I do my makeup pretty good, but I didn't think, you know. So then she says, well, my daughter's an artist. She'll fix it. And they all leave out the room and leave me with the mortician. And I'm like, I don't know if anybody else, but that was kind of devastating. And so I go in there and I'm like praying, and I'm like, God, help me to lead my hands to fix this makeup on my nephew's face. And so she comes in there, the mortician, she has the makeup palette. And I says, no, we need more makeup, different colors. So she leaves out, she comes back in with it, and I'm leading, you know, fixing his makeup and praying. And then my sister comes in, and then she's like, okay, that's Benny. So I got that, right? My nephew had died in my mom's arms too, in her house. So we got that tragedy. We go fast forward 2 years, and my older sister, Tanya, we had lived together. I had just moved out like 9 months before, because I felt like I was supposed to move out. And I moved out like down the street to the next light, and so far away. But I was being obedient to what was in my heart. And then I go down there, and then I get a call from my friend. This is January 8, 2015. And she says, Erika, I need to come to you. So I said, okay. So she buzzes my door, and I look down, I see these 2 officers coming with her. And I'm like, okay. So she comes up, and then the officer shows me her license and everything. And I said, oh. And he says, is your sister? And I said, yes. And they said, well, she didn't make it. And I said, didn't make it, you know. And they said she was on her way to work, going down 175th to go towards the train station, and she got hit, and she died. I think it was on the scene, on the accident scene. And so I'm hysterical, and I'm driving. I had to call my mom, I had to call my dad and tell my family the most horrific news ever in my life. And those screams from my mom and dad on the phone, still I hear today. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. And so when that happened, I had all those calls, and then they tell me, they add on, the officer says, and you need to hurry up before we send her body to the morgue. So I'm telling all these people, rushing to get dressed. I'm driving, and then on 175th, they had a car, police cars barricaded on the streets. And so I said, my sister died, I gotta get to the hospital. So the officer lets me through the barricade. You know, and he said, just tell the next officer when you get there that I let you through. Well, I get down there, and that officer's screaming at me, and she was like, you're not supposed to be here, and that's not, and she's like screaming. I'm already hysterical. And then, unfortunately, I ended up seeing the accident scene of the cars, and they had to cut my sister out, jaws of life, to get her out the car. So, like, just these different moments of tragedy, and having to see that, and having to experience that was some of the things that began to take me down into a very deep spot, you know. At that time, I had just taken a job at a nonprofit, and that job ended up not being the best thing for me, because I was one graphic designer that took care of 400 employees. There was nobody else on the team that knew the design program. So if I took a day off, I was like a doctor. I was on call all the time, even on my vacation. I remember I was in Paris, and I'm looking at the Eiffel Tower, and I get a message from my job talking about where's logos at. And I'm like, I'm in Paris, and they still don't know how to function without me. And so it was like, it just kept building up. And then I remember I would tell my friends and tell my family, hey, I'm having a hard time. You know, and that's when I began to start researching ways to take my life, you know. And I said, and they would say, oh, I deal with those thoughts all the time. Come on, Erika, let's just pray, you know. And I'm like, I said, yeah, I don't think you're thinking these thoughts, you know what I mean? But everybody just tried to brush me off, because I'm always happy. I'm always the leader, always strong in the Lord. And so I began to hold things in. So now I can't show anybody about the grieving of my nephew. I can't show that I'm still hurting for my sister, because I actually had family tell me, well, if Erika, if you get to that place, what hope is there for us? So I had no outlet. So I began to say, well, God, if this is living, then I don't want any parts of it. I said, I'd rather be Tanya than anything. And so as time went on, until it got to the day that I was like, this is the day, I'm ready to check out, you know? Which was supposed to be a celebration for everybody on the 4th of July, but it was going to be my time to leave this world. And I remember I seen my mom and my dad and my sister at Sam's Club the day before, and I remember giving my mom and my dad a hug that day, and I said, oh, this is the last time I give them a hug. And that's how much I was ready to go. And then that day, I remember, hey, you know how you have the movies, The Good Angel and The Bad Angel? And so, like, I hear this voice saying, just go take your life. And I have the other one say, reach out to your pastor. I got this voice telling me, go take your life. And so I said, I'm going to reach out to my pastor. And I said, but if he doesn't tell me everything's going to be okay, then that's it. I'm leaving. I'm out of here. You know what I mean? So I reach out to him, and then he tells me to reach out to my mentor, which is also pastor there as well. He goes, does she know about this? And I go, no, but I did share it with another pastor like a year and a half before. You know what I mean? And so he said she's on standby. And so I had an opportunity to go through all of that. I ended up going to the hospital for 2 days for them to go through all the things that was happening with me. And I bring all that up to say is that even in my darkest hour, I remember when I was even laying in that hospital bed at the hospital, and I remember God talking to me, and he said, Erika, he says, I love you, whether you write a book, whether you accomplish anything, I love you for you, just because you're breathing and just because you're here. And I said, okay, and it was like, from there, I said, okay, I want to live with you, you know, and so I know how it feels to be really low. And you know how it began is because those thoughts began to dominate. The negative thinking, the negative talk, the self-talk. I think they said it's like 15,000 to 60,000 thoughts in a day we have. You know what I mean? And it's really important to make sure that we have a healthy mindset. They actually had this study, they said there was a doctor that would go in after patients pass away and could look at brain scans and well, it can determine if you have a healthy mind, which means a positive thinking or a negative thinking. They can tell that by looking at these different scans in the brain. And so our thoughts do have weight. Our thoughts do have matter to them. I remember I had the opportunity to hear a 2-time Olympian, Christine Magnuson. She came to the Tinley Park Library some years ago. And she was sharing about that she had you have a regular coach that's always, coach you how to be the best. Dr. Rodney Alford, MD, has served many years as Pediatrics Specialist and has over 40 years of experience in the medical field. He graduated from Loyola University of Chicago, Stritch School, am I saying that right? Stritch School of Medicine in 1982. I would like to present to you our keynote speaker, Dr. Rodney Alford. Let's welcome him.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to have to get things set up a little bit here, but I have a few questions for you all. And I'm going to give out some money. If you come up with these answers. So, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. She said that there was some awards that I've gotten over time. Does anybody know any of the awards that I may have received that you might have heard about?
We can't Google them.
If you want to Google it, you might be too slow to answer. Anybody? Anybody? Well, one of the awards that I received, I'll let this thing move up and you get in there and do what it's supposed to do. But one of the awards that I received was Physician of the Year for Illinois. That was last year. They actually, all of my colleagues and doctors of Illinois actually voted me as the #1 physician for Illinois. So that was a nice one.
That's pretty good.
The United States voted me one of the 50 most positive doctors in the United States.
Wow.
Nice award. Yeah, that was a nice award. I've been given a lot of awards over time. In Kankakee, I was the Person of the Year for Kankakee 1 year. I was a Rural Health Physician of the year for 2 years straight. You know, there are so many awards and accolades that folks have given me over the years, and I'm thankful. You know, I'm thankful that people recognize the work that I'm trying to do, not just in my community, and not just even in Illinois, and not even just in the United States, but the world. I have some, still not getting signal yet. Not sure what I need to do here. And I had a feeling that might be an issue. If you all can get some help here for me. I don't think this isn't my machine. But I've gone all over the world and have tried to do things to help in other communities, particularly communities of folks that look like me. I'm kind of biased in that way, because when I went to college, I went to college with the idea to be in medical school. I knew I was going to be a physician by the time I was a sophomore in high school. So I was directed, I was focused. I knew what I wanted to do, and I had in my mind what my plan was for my life. And that's part of why I had some success in my life, is because I was focused at an early age. I had a purpose in my mind at a fairly early age. Not all of us have been able to do that. And so sometimes we've limited ourselves because we haven't shot for the highest goals in our lives. And I've always tried to do that throughout my life. So I've gone to Jamaica. I started some clinics in Jamaica. 2 areas of Jamaica I started clinics, and we had people coming by to see us at those clinics. In Nigeria, I've been in Nigeria several times and have started multiple clinics in Nigeria. There was one trip that we were able to go to Nigeria and serve 10,000 people in 1 week. Not just me and my team. That was exciting. But I've gone to Nigeria multiple times. And the one trip that probably affected me most was, no problem, it's coming, but that's not, is it gonna click onto what I have on my screen? That's how.
That's not an issue.
Dr. Alford, could I ask you a question?
Go right ahead.
Get the technical stuff together. And I applaud your efforts in this region, in this world. What has been the most fulfilling aspect of your medical career?
That's a really, really good question. The most fulfilling aspect was that I practiced in a community called Hopkins Park, which many of you all know about. I practiced there for almost 30 years, 29 years I practiced there. I took care of people from babies, from infants, to adulthood and well into death. And I've attended funerals to those patients that were mine for over 30 years. I still attend funerals to my patients that I've had for many years. The most fulfilling part of it was that first 30 years of my practice career. I was led to Pembroke because I was told that it was the most needy community in the United States at that time. And so because of that, I wanted to be there. I wanted to be there to help, I wanted to be there to serve, and there are many, many products of me having been there. So I love that question because I know for me, that was the most important time of my life, was being, you have something else? I don't know. It was on every floor. It was mm-hmm. I don't know.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yes, we're working on
So now I'll need to show that's not the view I want to show.
That's the.
So it says hybrid. Let me go back to that. This way. It's not doing- Right.
See, that's what I was talking about.
Still standing.
Just see.
Barely, but I'm still hanging.
See, it's No, I'm gonna get, I'm trying to get.
That's
No, I know that, but I'm trying to get to your settings.
okay.
Get to your settings. Is there a display?
Feel this now, this last year.
You can talk to them.
I want to interrupt the conversation.
No, you. Oh, I'm sorry.
So basically, for me, what's always been important is how I can serve other people. That really has been everything to me. Is how can I serve others? What can I do to serve others? And so I've gone to these different areas. Do you all remember an earthquake in Haiti?
Yeah.
That happened. We were one of the first planes to land in Haiti to help take care of those earthquake victims. You cannot imagine the devastation that we were able to see. People lying throughout areas, stones crushing bones and people, babies being born on tarmacs that we created. Devastation that you would not believe. But I wouldn't have been able to do that without generous contributions from different organizations. One particularly was one church that donated a jet. Church that was able to donate a jet. Can you all imagine the church the size enough and with the wherewithal to want to do something like that? Reverend Meeks actually granted us that opportunity to do that.
Wow.
Thank you very much. So, yeah, Senator Meeks, Reverend Meeks, and he said, Doc, what do you need? I said, we need a jet for 34 people. He got a private jet for us to fly 34 healthcare workers to Haiti to do the work that we needed to do to take care of those people. That was the most amazing trip. So much so that we set up clinics, 2 clinics in Haiti, and we would go there every few weeks. So I went out to Haiti for three times a week at a time for about 4 months, and enjoyed every bit of it because we were able to save some lives. We were able to help a lot of people. We did some great things there, and I'm so happy for the group that I was able to work with to do that. So, so for me, I can't even come up with the one thing that that excites me most about my life. So I practiced. Well, you go back. I started medicine at Loyola University, as was mentioned. I went to the undergrad, and then I decided to also go to the medical school, because medical school said, hey, things like that. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. She talked enough about it, but just a little bit is going to go into what I'm going to talk about as well. Because if you're going to be healthy for the holidays and also live longer, it's important that you're going to be happy and have joy throughout those years as well. So I'm going to start talking, here's some Christmas stuff. This is Christmas time, and we think about Christmas time, everything's happy and joyful, and everybody's passing presents, and, you know, the joy of Christmas. And do you know that most people around this time are depressed? Most.
Suicide.
The suicides are up, homicides are up. You know, people are robbing more, stealing more. All of these negative things are happening around this joyous season. Why is that? Why is that? Stress is up, all kinds of other things. You know, but we think about all the good parts of it, but there's a lot of negative parts. People are missing their family members. I didn't tell you how it ended up. After leaving the practice, you know, my own practice, and moving to Watsika, which was right outside of that 20-mile radius that I had to be. Watsika is about, well, actually the clinic was 20.9 miles away. Praise God. And so what happened was, within the first 2 weeks of people finding out where I was, 45% of my practice that I was seeing in that community was my old patients. So the hospital was very happy to take me on, because now they got all of these patients that looked a little different from what they were used to seeing. Because if you know, Watsika is 99.9% white. Now they were seeing all of these black people coming into their community, and they were kind of happy about it, because guess what? They didn't look black, they looked green. The hospital, all they saw was green. They saw money coming into their community. They saw more people seeing their community. So they were very happy. They supported me very well while I was there. And so after I practiced there for a while, the administration thought that they could pull one over on me. And I told them, no, I'm not going through that again. I'm not going through that. So I actually left and started working for Aunt Martha's clinics. And you all know that Aunt Martha's has been around in this community for quite a while, and in the Chicago community as well, doing some very positive things for needy communities. And so that was right up my alley. And also, they had a clinic in Kankakee. So for me, I was coming back home and able to practice at home. But then they did a little switch around with me. They said, well, you know, we know you're from Kankakee. We know you're living in Watsika now. But we got a clinic in Danville that we really need some help at. We don't have any doctors that will work in our Danville clinic. I was already signed up as an employee, so I didn't get to choose where I was going to be. So they sent me to Danville. So instead of coming to Kankakee, my home, instead of going to Watsika, where I lived, I had to go further south, an hour south drive every day to Danville. So I did that for a few years, and I saw that I was being used there. And I'm not one for being used, y'all. I'm sorry, I can't do it. I just can't do it. I'm a leader, and I'm a born leader, and I know that about myself, and I just can't. And you know, the key to a good leader is that you can follow well. I can follow well until you start leading me in the wrong direction. And so when the money started being more of an issue there, I thought, gotta get away from this. So I had another opportunity to work in Watsika again at the same hospital, because they came under a different management, and they came back to me and they said, Doc, you did some great things for our community, you did some great things at this hospital. We want you back here, and we're going to pay you much more than what they paid you before, and you can pretty much decide what you want to do when you get here. Leave the other doctors, do what you need to do, let's make this a success. I came back, helped them to be a success, was able to get the governor to give some millions of dollars to that community and that hospital and was able to allow us to have a status that now at this hospital in Watsika, a very nice status that they can now see patients in an emergency type setting there, and they were able to get many dollars because of that. Then they changed administration. And that administrator didn't really understand the power of a doctor. They didn't get it. They didn't think that the doctors actually drove healthcare. They thought that they did in administration. They really thought that that was their thing. So because they thought that and decided that they weren't going to acknowledge what I was doing, again, I can't be led by the nose. I can't do it. I've never been able to do it. I will never do it. So I had to leave there. But at that point I thought, you know, it's time for me to retire. I'm going to be 65 years old. Like, it's time for me to sit down, you know, hang out with my wife, you know, enjoy grandchildren and all of that. That was the plan. Still I rise. So what happened was, on the way to retirement, I was just going to give, you know, some hours, you know, here and there to the local jail in Watsika. That was the plan. I was to work out at the jail and, you know, see some of these folks that I had seen in the clinics in Watsika. I had seen a few of the people from the jail. I had gone over to the jail and seen some. And it was that giving back again, because I saw that, you know, brothers back then, you know, were more populous there than anywhere else. So I said, okay, I can help them out and be a positive influence. And so that was my plan. And then they told me, after this was like 2 weeks into my retirement, they told me, well, there's a jail, Pontiac, that needs a doctor to help out, you know, periodically. I said, Pontiac prison? I heard of that prison. Ain't that the maximum security prison where they got all the murderers and you know, rapists and, you know, mass murderers and all that? They said, yeah, that's the place. They need a doctor. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. How many times? Once a week? They said, yeah, one time a week, maybe twice a week at the most. You know, just to help out the doctor that's there. And so I said, okay, I'll do it. Came in, was working my 1 day a week for 2 weeks. And the medical director that was there died. And they come to me and they said, Doc, we need someone to be our medical director for this prison. I'm like, y'all got the wrong person. I am retired. What don't you understand about retirement? I'm retired, y'all. They said, well, we can just have you as interim. You know, just, you know, maybe you can just be there, you know, just for a short time, maybe a couple weeks or so, till we can find another medical director. I said, I'm here already. They've already kind of indoctrinated me. I want to serve. Yeah, I'll do that. I've been the interim medical director for almost 2 years, folks. Interim medical director.
2 years.
For almost 2 years now. And I am enjoying it immensely because I do have the opportunity to make a difference. I do have an opportunity to talk to some of these brothers that are there, some young, some older, and give them a little taste of light. You know, because my cousin who had served in penitentiaries for about 20 years, I came to him, one of my good friends that also put in some years in a penitentiary. I talked to both of them, they were both out, and I asked them, I said, what do you think? Do you think I would be able to survive in a situation like that? And they said, Doc, is it really about you? I said, no, it's never been about me. Never in my career has it ever been about me. It says, but you may be the only light that these guys see while they're there in prison. That's what committed me. That's what made me say I'm going to do this. Because I felt like I wanted to be light somewhere. And what better place is in the darkest place on the face of the earth? In a maximum security prison where all of my patients come to me like this. The most degrading time in their lives, but the most joyous time because they get to see their doctor. They get to see their doctor and actually have someone that looks at them face to face and says, bro, I care about you, and I'm going to take care of you. And I'm going to do anything I would do for my outside patients that I would do for you. They've never heard those words before. They've never seen that kind of health care before. And now they're going to experience the best health care that has been given to a community. Now is going to be given to a community of people that are considered less than human. And so that's kind of what I see. And so I see the negativity around this holiday season. I see that I have an increase in guys trying to commit suicide right there in the prison. I see people lighting themselves on fire just about every other week. Someone is now lighting themselves, burning themselves, trying to hang themselves because this is a difficult time for them because they're not home with their family. They're not there to see their family. So, so we think about this when we think of Christmas. They can think about that, but they don't get to see it. They don't get to see it at all. So for me, this is this picture that just brings back all those, beautiful, fun times. So I'm going to talk about healthy for the holidays. First, we can't talk about healthy for the holidays without talking about nutrition. Now, I know we are going to go to parties. We're going to go to celebrations. We're going to eat a lot of food. Not always good food. And what I tell my patients is, it really isn't about, what you eat. It's really about how much you eat. And what time you eat it. And how you eat it. So I tell people, eat slow. Take your time. I know you see all of this in front of you, this big, huge plate of food. You just want to get into it. Take your time. Eat slow. Take a little 10-minute break before you get up and get that second helping. Just sit there, let your stomach settle. That's good. Yeah, because breakfast is what? The most important meal of the day. Y'all have been told that before. Your parents have told you that. You've been told that. That's the most important meal of the day. And guess what happens? You've got that energy for the day so you can burn it off throughout the day. If you eat it at night, what's going to happen? You're going to go to sleep and gain weight because what are you doing with the food you just ate?
Right.
Nothing. So it just sits in your gut and it allows to accumulate as fat because you're not burning it off immediately. So if you're going to fast on your dinner. Now folks say, well, wait a minute now. I like dinner. You're supposed to be a fast, right? You're supposed to be denying yourself of something that you want, right? And what does the word breakfast mean? You're breaking the fast. Okay? That's where it comes from. So don't eat supper. If you feel like you want to lose some weight, don't eat supper. I'm telling you, you will lose up to 1 to 5 pounds a week in the first couple weeks of doing that if you do that. Not eat supper. Simple as that. Eat a decent breakfast. Not huge, but a decent breakfast. Don't eat supper. Challenge you to do that. Eat real food. What I mean by real food is food. Don't try to make up your meals with supplements. A lot of people are taking all these different supplements that, whoever told them about, somebody told them, this is a good supplement for you, this is going to help you with your digestion, it's going to help with this and that. Unless your doctor has recommended it and you trust the doctor, it's probably best to kind of stay away from all the supplements that are out there. When you eat foods, make sure your plate is colorful. You want to see some yellows, some greens, some orange, some red stuff. You want to see other colors because those colors denote other types of healthy minerals and different vitamins that are in those particular foods. The most colorful vegetable that you may see is a pepper. You got green pepper, yellow pepper, orange pepper, red pepper. They all taste good. Mix them with something else, mix them with some onions, and get some kind of meat with it. You got a meal. You got a meal. And it's a healthy meal. So color your plate. Make sure that there's colors in your plate. If you're going to go to a party, make sure you eat something. Like I said, don't go there hungry. If you go there hungry, you're gonna hurt yourself. So have a little snack, a light snack, or some kind of food to get something in your stomach so that you won't feel like you gotta dog it all out. And eat regularly and frequently on a regular basis throughout those days, even not on that particular day, but eat small amounts frequently. That actually helps your digestion, and you can actually do better and not gain as much weight if you're doing that. And you notice that I'm having very small portions. That's hard. That's hard. But once you get used to doing it, your stomach actually gets used to it, and you fill yourself up quicker. Small plates tend to fool your head to believe that when it's full, you're finished. Small plates are really good. That's why a lot of times you'll see at buffets, the plates are kind of small. You notice that? So y'all won't dog out all the food the first time on the first pass. That's what they're doing. They're saving money with those small plates. They could have a bigger place than that. And so as we talk about eating, we got to talk about something else. We got to talk about exercise. And this guy said, this guy is a busy guy, executive. He's busy. Doctor, tell me, what fits your business schedule better? Exercising 1 hour a day or being dead 24 hours a day? Which is best for your schedule, okay? So it's so important to make sure that you're exercising on a fairly regular basis, 20 to 30 minutes a day. Not a whole lot of time needs to be, you don't have to put in an hour and a half, 2 hours in the gym to be healthy. You really don't. Good 20 to 30 minutes a day has been proven, not just me saying it, this has been proven to show that it will make you healthier. And if you're too busy, holidays and whatnot, then break it up. Do it 2 times, maybe 3 times a day, a 10-minute, 15-minute break, 10 to 15-minute sessions, if you're too busy. I like all of these online things. They have tutorials, they have videos, and they have all kinds of things that you can exercise with. There's no excuse for saying, I don't know what I need to do to exercise. No, there's tons of things out there. I particularly like Tai Chi. That's something that I've gotten into, and I've encouraged a lot of my patients to get into. Y'all look it up, check out Tai Chi. That's a really good, healthy, easy type of thing that you can do. It's very good for your mind. It's good for your relaxation. It's just good. It's all around good. And it's an ancient thing that's been around for many, many years, longer than any of us have ever been around. And it is something that does help. So I'm actually working toward a Tai Chi belt at some point. So join a gym. Go to the inexpensive one. Don't feel like you got to go to the gym membership that's going to cost you $300-400 a month. For what? So you can get someone to tell you how to exercise when you really know what you need to do. Yeah, go to one of the inexpensive ones. They will show you what to do even there. And when you're exercising, don't try to overkill. Don't go for broke. I want you to live longer, not die sooner. It really is about toning. By the time most of us are in our 40s, up in the 50s and 60s, what are we trying to do other than live longer? Trying to live longer. That's what we're trying to do. So cardio becomes much more important than all the physical exercise that we might want to do. Although we want to look good too in our 60s, But it's much better to exercise that most important muscle, and that's your heart. So I encourage you to do that. If you want good abs, if you know that there's no hope for a 6-pack anymore,
40 ounces.
At least, at the very least, go for a firm pack. If you can't get a 6-pack, get it firm, as opposed to a gallon. Or a flat pack, or a barrel. You don't want any of that stuff. So healthy is important. The question is, you talk about doing all those exercises. Is sleeping really important? I I mean, is it really important? I mean, I know your body forces you to do it. Is it really important? Well, it's pretty important. Sleep and rest is really a really important thing. If you're not getting adequate sleep and rest, actually your immune system is weakened. Your body can't function properly. Your hormones are somewhat altered because you're not sleeping properly, and you get weight gain. You can't lose weight if you're not sleeping properly. That seems crazy. It just seems crazy that that's the case, but because your hormones are thrown off, you won't lose weight. And what a lot of us do is, if we're up late, we're gonna snack, right? And so we find the unhealthiest of unhealthy snacks, to get into. Be careful of the snacks you choose when you decide to snack. The question comes now, is stress a bad thing? Can it really kill you? Yeah, it can. Yeah. We want you to de-stress before you become in distress. De-stress your life. Find ways that you can, get the stress out of your life. Unwind, walk, go to the movies, read, hang out with other people. Do something that you like to do. Things that make you happy. Think about what makes you happy. And then, if you can find some other people that like doing what you like doing, get with the support group, get with other folks and do those things together. If you're going to be traveling during the holiday season, this is a big deal. Relieve the stress of traveling. You shouldn't have to be all stressed out if you're going on vacation. But that happens all too often. Why? One, because we decide at a later time. We like a week before the trip, we want to try to get our flight and all of that. You could have got a better price if you had planned this thing weeks to months ahead. It would have been cheaper for you. You wouldn't have had the stress of it. Probably would have even been paid for before you go on the trip. When you do go on your trip, have your entertainment all set up. Download some entertainment for yourself. Get your Netflix thing going on your phone. Whatever it takes you to relax. We were talking about earlier going on that long flight. You going on a flight, say you're going to Hawaii. Man, that's a long flight. That's like 20 hours in a plane. Or you going to Europe. That's a long flight. Or even if you're just going 2-3 hours flight away, that's still long. Download some stuff so you have something that you can entertain yourself with if you can't sleep on that flight. Another thing we talked about was traveling on the train. Train's a really good opportunity. It's really nice. It's relaxing. You don't have to drive. The children aren't saying, I'll be there yet. It's actually pretty nice. And it's a little more economical than flying most times. Always try to, and I try to teach my wife this. It's tough to teach a woman this. Pack light. Don't feel like you got to pack your whole house to go. I don't want to miss anything. You're not gonna need. You're on vacation. You need your clothes, but you don't need a whole lot of other stuff. So, and do expect and plan for delays, because delays do happen, especially around the holidays. So just plan for it. Like I said, have your Netflix on your phone. Have whatever it takes on your tablet or whatever. Have something to entertain yourself while you're waiting if you have to delay. And bring snacks, healthy snacks with you. Please bring, because you're gonna find yourself in the airport looking for that $25 hamburger, that's gonna make you mad when you buy it and it ain't even gonna be good, or that one slice of pizza that costs you $23, and you're like, man, this is the worst pizza I ever had, and I paid $23. I could have got a whole pizza, and I got a piece of pizza that I didn't even like. So pack yourself some snacks, some healthy snacks. They allow you to do that. For example, fruit, vegetables, nuts. You can do all of those things. You can pack all of those things, and they will let you bring that on the plane. Isn't that amazing?